matchup. The 2025 Finals features two teams who are playing the best down the stretch. And it hasn't been close as OKC and Indiana have run away from the pack since January 1st. These are the two best teams in the NBA by win percentage. All right, welcome into NBA Today. George Sedana in for Malika Andrews. Again, the NBA Finals are set just 3 days away. We're joined by the superstar Andrea Carter and NBA champion Kendrick Perkins. Either Oklahoma City or Indianapolis will be raising their first NBA championship banner in their city's history. So for the folks out there who haven't been watching these teams closely enough, Perk, tell them what they're in store for.
Well, one is two teams that are ready to get their feet hot with one another. That's the first thing, right? And then when you look at the Pacers, they have a rising young star, a superstar in Tyrese Halliburton. You have a champion, Pascal Siakam, and they have an excellent coach that has an excellent offense. On the flip side of things, you have SGA, the MVP, the guy who led the league in scoring, right? Arguably stepping into that conversation of being a legit superstar after he complete the mission. Could be in the conversation for his best player in the league. And the Indiana Pacers are going against the Oklahoma City Thunder defense, who's one of the best defensive teams in NBA history. So, I mean, it's going to be smoke there, damn it. It's just who's ready to run up that damn chimney.
No, I love it, Perk. It's strength on strength when you talk about the Pacers offense against the Oklahoma City Thunder defense. But these are two teams. When you talk about these two teams, they're not super teams. They didn't go out here and get three superstars to put these teams together, or four superstars, right? The way that these teams have been constructed and the way that these organizations have trusted their young superstars to develop and grow. That's SGA. That's Tyrese Halliburton. To me, these are two complete teams, but they're coming in from opposite directions. You talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. They've been the best team all season. Yep. Shea is the MVP. Then you talk about the Pacers, who started 10-15, and Tyrese Halliburton's voted most overrated. So they're coming in from opposite directions, but both have something to prove.
Yeah, overrate that, as they say. And two teams, by the way, that turn the ball over the least in the NBA. Thunder 1, Pacers 2. So they take care of the ball. We should have a lot of opportunities to shoot at the basket. All right, the Thunder have been off since Wednesday. They held their first full practice yesterday afternoon, and after finding out that they'll face Indy in Game 1, here's Jalen Williams on his first impressions of the Pacers.
They play fast, and that's what kind of like fuels their whole identity.
They play the same way up 20 as they do down 20. They've got unbelievable integrity to the way that they do things, and that's why they're good.
Mark made a really good point. Like, they are feeling the exact same way we feel. You know what I mean? Like, they've had to win 3 series. We've had to win 3 series. So they're coming in extremely confident. We're coming in confident. So should be really fun.
The young Thunder enter the finals as huge favorites. And as big a favorite as we've seen over the last 40 years, only 5 teams have entered the finals with bigger odds to win it all. Oklahoma City is the largest favorite to win it all, entering a finals since the 2018 Warriors against the Cavaliers. So, Andrea, what's the biggest advantage OKC has?
I mean, multiple things when I talk about OKC, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, Oklahoma City, they have the MVP in Shai, who has been unstoppable. The 30-point performances that we've seen from him just in the playoffs alone, the way he has the ball in his hands, can get on the hips of defenders, can get into the paint, create, score through contact, draw fouls, which I know some people don't like it, but that is a skill. It puts so much pressure on the defense when opponents' defenders get into foul trouble. That is a problem, because it changes the rotations, it changes the subbing patterns. The biggest advantage is Shai and his poise, his skill. He's poised, he is a calm leader, and he is consistent. Now, everybody talks about, my whole life is consistent. That's what he said in an interview. He's so consistent in the way he plays and the way he carries himself. That is the biggest key and the biggest advantage for OKC. Yeah, it's certainly the case. If you look at this, 147 free throw attempts this postseason. For all of you calling him the free throw merchant, that's only 38th all time. All the great players, by the way, go to the free throw line, and those previous players were doing it in an era where they weren't scoring as much as they're scoring now. So, look, Perk, how do you feel about this with OKC in their situation as they're the big favorites?
Oh, I feel good, especially like Drell just said, when you're talking about SGA, we're talking about the best perimeter player in basketball. Not just in this postseason, in basketball, knocking at the door of being the best player in the game. We know that he's going to go out there and get you 30 points a night. Damn it, he led the league in scoring. But as throughout these playoffs, we saw growth in SGA. We saw in Game 4 when he almost notched that 40-point triple-double. We seen him making guys around him better. This is not Jalen Brunson, right? And I say this with all due respect to Big Body Brunson. I'm a huge fan. But SGA is 6'6". SGA knows how to get to that mid-range. SGA has long arms. He could damn near scratch his ankles standing straight up. He has the mid-range game. So the pressure in him 94 feet, that's not going to work because he's faster than Jalen Brunson. And when he gets ahead of steam and get downhill, we know he's finisher. He's a finisher around the basket, and we definitely know that you can't stop him from finishing around the basket because he know how to get to the free throw line.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Perk, because think about it. If his shot's not falling, and this is SGA, what can he do? Get a layup. Yep. Or get to the free throw line. He can play his way into the game and stay on the floor even if his shot is not falling. And then if we take it just a step further with Oklahoma City as a team, if their shots aren't falling, that's okay because their biggest strength is their defense. So even when their offense isn't coming along and they're not hitting shots, they can keep themselves in the game because of the way they defend.
And that's a great point because think about this. They won the game. I believe it was Game 3 in Minnesota. They shot 9 for 33 from the three-point line and won that basketball game.
Right.
Yeah.
The 9 for 33.
Yeah, Game 4. It was Game 4.
I think that was in Minnesota.
Yeah,
Game
it
4.
was Game 4.
Excuse me, Game 4. Yeah.
So, real quick, though, let's talk about the Pacers for a second. They closed out the East with a big win on Saturdays. We're going to look back at that particular game and how they did it. We got plenty of time to talk about OKC and this matchup. Let's start off here. Pascal Siakam showed up in the big Game 6. 31 points in Game 6. Led the way for Indiana. Look at the type of names you're talking about here in regards to Pascal Siakam. Only Reggie Miller putting up performances like that. So let's start off here. Tyrese Halliburton, way too open here.
Why are you backing up, Kat? You can't leave him that open.
Oh, look at Caitlin.
Yeah.
Come on. Next, we've got Tyrese Halliburton again in the fourth quarter. Here he hits the tough floater.
He came along in the fourth quarter, George. I mean, 21 points, 13 assists, but he turned it up in the fourth. And this was just, he was playing with him at this point.
Way downtown. Scored 11 points in the fourth quarter. Let's take a listen to the postgame.
Our two star players, Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam, put our team on their backs, and they just decided that we were not going to lose this game today.
Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers get a win. The biggest star is the Pacers' biggest star right there. But Pascal Siakam, as you saw, won the MVP for that particular series. It was a split, though, 5-4 in favor of Siakam, so it was as close can get. Perk, did they get it right?
I believe so. I tweeted it out before they announced it that I thought that Pascal Siakam should have been the MVP, and he was. I mean, he was consistent throughout the Eastern Conference. We saw that drop-off with Tyrese Halliburton between game for game, but it wasn't that for Pascal Siakam. And Andrea talked about, you know, Halliburton taking over that fourth quarter in the highlights, but there is no fourth quarter without Pascal Siakam doing what he did in the first, second, and third quarter. I think when they get down to the half-court sets, he was the one that got them through. He was the mismatch that the Knicks couldn't figure out. It didn't matter. If you put a smaller guy on him, he was taking them to that elbow mid-post area. If you put a bigger guy on him, he was out sprinting Karl Anthony Towns, getting out in transition on makes and misses. So he was the guy, well-deserved. I thought it was close, but I would have gave it to Pascal Siakam as well.
All right, well, there you have it. Big Perk has laid down the law. All right, folks were sleeping on the Pacers all season long, and now they got no choice but to wake up, Perk and Andrea, because even with the recent success, the Pacers entered the season with 50-1 odds to reach the finals, which is tied for the third longest odds to make the series over the last 40 years. So, Perk, what's impressed you most? Actually, let's start with Andrea. What's impressed you most about this run?
Well, when we talk about the Pacers, it's just their offense and the way that they play together on the offensive end, and also the way that they kind of had to get it out the mud. They were resilient. They had a ton of injuries and they pulled together, but they played together. And that's what stands out about this team. When we look at this Indiana Pacers offense and the togetherness that they play with, this is going to be huge when they face this OKC defense. Watch Nesmith get into the paint. Jalen Brunson gets beat on this drive, and it puts the defense in rotation. Now Mikal Bridges has to come over, and you got Miles Turner wide open for the three. You're not going to be able to go one-on-one against OKC. You've got to beat OKC with the pass. That's what they do here against the Knicks. 2 players on the ball because Tyrese Haliburton gets on the drive. Wide open three. Now, one of the keys is going to be knocking down these wide open three-pointers because we saw Minnesota was not able to do that. They had wide open threes, but they didn't hit them. Pacers, spacing, offense, togetherness. 4 guys outside of the three-point line. The drive, the alley-oop, the slam for Obi Toppin. It's that togetherness, being connected on the offensive end, getting into the paint, making a pass, making one more pass, and playing together, especially with OKC's defense. That's how the Pacers got here. That's what it's going to take if they...
Era started off with some promising returns, seeing Luka lead the Lakers in scoring in the LeBron era of the Lakers. Only Anthony Davis had done that back in 2020. The pair sat down with Steve Nash and LeBron on the latest episode of Mind the Game.
I mean, it's great. You see, I've never played a guy like this. And, just being traded to here, to LA, I mean, it was different. But just to play with guys like him, like, it's unbelievable. Like, I can learn so many stuff, first of all, off the court, all the things he does just to be ready for the game. And obviously on the court, everybody knows what kind of player he is.
What, give me an example of a couple things you've seen, like being around him every day where you're like, he does that? Like, what's he doing over there? Like, is there anything that stands out initially where you're like, wow?
Well, first of all, he shows up like 10 hours before the game. So, I mean, that was really the main. Like, I was, what? I came into the arena.
He was 22 years?
He was already done working out. I was like, what?
Yeah, the man does his work. Perk would know for sure. Luka has clearly a new level of appreciation for LeBron now that he's playing with him. So how do you think that shows up in year 2 of this superstar pairing, Perk?
Well, it depends on how Luka show up in camp. Is he going to show up in great shape? Is he going to show up a different player, especially on the defensive side of things? That's where you start off first. Secondly, what Rob Pelinka is going to do with this roster. They have to address the center position. We know Luka thrives well offensively when he has a lob threat at the basket. But if I'm Luka, I'm doing exactly what Anthony Edwards did in the Olympics last offseason, and I'm being a sponge. Anthony Edwards went down there and he was a sponge to LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry to pick up habits on how to be a professional, what to do as a franchise player, not just on the floor, outside of the lines. So I'm looking at Luka coming into camp, and I need to see skinny Luka. Not medium Luka.
Skinny Luka.
Not thick Luka.
Yeah,
Skinny
the internet
Luka.
don't lie, Perk. He's skinny Luka right now.
Skinny Luka. I love that. I'm so excited for what this could mean for Luka, right? I mean, Luka is such an incredible player. And now you talk about him being this inspired by LeBron James, one of the greatest players we've ever seen. I'm excited to watch what Luka becomes from being next to LeBron James. But it's not going to matter for the Lakers if, like Perk said, they do something with the roster. They have to do something with the roster. If Luka is amazing and he's skinny Luka and he's balling out and LeBron James is defying the aging odds and doing things we have never seen before, even if those two are amazing, the Lakers will not have success if they don't have a big and they don't have a team that can play. Because look at the teams we're talking about right now.
Right.
They have bigs. They have depth.
Oh, yeah.
They play defense.
Yeah.
It's a team sport. So even if those two are amazing, I'm going to enjoy watching them individually play alongside each other, but the Lakers have to do something with the roster. I completely agree with Perk.
Yeah, JJ's going to need to be able to play more than 5 guys in a meaningful game, or at least 5 guys that he trusts in a meaningful game. Hey, big offseason moves will always have ripple effects. Many we won't see until years later. That's the case with Paul George, who just finished his 15th season spread across 4 NBA franchises. He's no longer on the Pacers or the Thunder, but played a major role in both franchises making it to the finals. Here's our guy, Justin Tinsley, on how.
Every NBA Finals comes with a compelling backstory. But this year is different because it comes with quite the butterfly effect. What's that, you ask? A singular change that leads to unpredictable, far larger impacts. Or in basketball terms, The Paul George effect. Neither the Indiana Pacers nor the Oklahoma City Thunder stand on the doorstep of history without Paul George. In particular, without trading the 9-time All-Star. Let's connect the dots, because while George may be the rock and the NBA the water, the ripples are felt to this day. Paul George is one of the best players in Pacers history. However, in 2017, the then 27-year-old star forward was traded to Oklahoma City for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis.
It's really stunning. We did not hear Oklahoma City as an option for George throughout this process.
In his parting Instagram post, George promised Pacers fans, "You'll be in great hands with the future." The Pacers didn't advance past the first round of the playoffs for the next 3 years, but in February 2022, the franchise sent Sabonis to the Sacramento Kings. For who exactly? A young point guard named Tyrese Halliburton.
Three ball! And in! And in! This one is over!
You have got to be kidding me. Trades happen all the time, but this is where things start to get really crazy. In July 2019, the Thunder traded Paul George to the Los Angeles Clippers, pairing him with Kawhi Leonard. In return, Oklahoma City received the Kings' ransom that included Danilo Gallinari and 5 draft picks, one of whom became All-Star Jalen Williams. But the centerpiece no one realized was a centerpiece at the time, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, only the reigning league and Western Conference Finals MVP.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but he's known for exactly that, isn't he?
The NFL has the Herschel Walker trade, one that was directly responsible for erecting the Dallas Cowboys dynasty of the 1990s.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
This isn't a knock on George, one of the better two-way stars of his generation. By parting ways with him, though, 2 franchises found cornerstone point guards. Now, both meet in the NBA Finals, and one will call himself an NBA champion in a matter of days.
Confident are you that this group has enough to take that next step? And
the most confidence, overconfident. Seriously, I don't. There's not an ounce of any type of doubt that I'm not confident with this group.
So Jalen Brunson is confident in his Knicks core, and I'm confident we have the best voice to outline what the options will be for New York to improve this summer. Our NBA front office insider, Bobby Marks. So, Bobby, what should the Knicks' priority be this offseason?
George, I think there's 4 things on the to-do list, certainly what to watch list for New York. I think the first one is to analyze how much does roster continuity matter when you look at this Knicks team. 7 of their top players are in their contract for next season. You have to look at the landscape of the Eastern Conference, certainly some volatility with Boston and Milwaukee. This is a team that will likely be a top 3 team next year. The second thing, of course, is going to be the bench. The fewest minutes this season, the fewest points per game this season among the bench. How do you improve in free agency with limited options? The third thing, Mikal Bridges, extension eligible. We remember they traded 5 first-round picks. He's extension eligible right when the NBA Finals are over, 4 for $156 million. And then the fourth one is Mitchell Robinson, starter during the last part of the playoffs here. Last year of his contract, is he a priority on the court, or can you look at him as your most valuable trade chip moving forward?
Interesting stuff, Bobby, as always. We'll continue having this discussion in a second. But Brunson, as we saw, clearly voicing confidence. But according to an article in The Athletic, the Knicks did have some concerns when it came to Karl Anthony Towns' performance on the defensive end. Quote, publicly, the Knicks players made veiled comments all season about poor communication causing their inconsistencies. Behind the scenes, they and coaches expressed frustration with Towns' defensive habits. Less concerned with his talent level and more with his process on that end. After it became a theme, players worried Towns didn't grasp the importance of the matter. So, Perk, that's the story in The Athletic. What's your level of confidence in the Brunson-Cat pairing moving forward?
Oh, it's high. It's high. First of all, no anonymous sources, right? That's a coward move. Put your name behind it, you go put it out there. That's number one. Number two, here's the thing. The Knicks' only thing is to worry about is accountability. accountability with Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. Can he get in better shape? Can he lose a couple pounds? Absolutely. But I'm looking at Karl Anthony Towns to go in this offseason, and I'm looking at him to accept the criticism, right? Hold it like a conversation and use it as motivation for us getting better this offseason. Drop about 15 to 20 pounds, work on your lateral movement, work on your speed, being able to get up and down the floor, and get better.
Who's that skinny guy there?
2012 night, I'm just saying, 9 years of my career when I first got to OKC, I was 288. I dropped some weight in the offseason to be able to keep up with KD and Russ and James. I got down to 253, 9% body fat. So it can be done. We watched Steph Curry do it on his fourth championship. He got stronger. He got faster. He got more athletic. So he was able to defend Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford when they tried to create mismatches against him. I would keep everything together, don't fire Tibbs, and hold Karl Anthony Towns accountable. They have the relationship since Kentucky. Cat, World Wide West, and Leon Rose.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. You don't see a lot of players in year 10 and beyond get better necessarily on defense. But the other stuff, it is controllable. I'll give you that perk. Now, Drea, we've heard names floating around this offseason. KD, Giannis, the list goes on and on. Should New York go star hunting?
No. The answer is no. Keep this group together, this group that just experienced pain and heartache and losing. They can use that to fuel them. You bring in a new star that didn't go through this entire season, didn't go through this offseason, didn't go through losing at home to the Pacers. That is so big when it comes to having a team. And we have seen so many organizations go star hunting and it doesn't work out. Think about Brooklyn when they had KD and Harden and Kyrie. Think about the 76ers with Embiid and Paul George. That hasn't worked out just yet. Think about the Clippers when they had PG and Kawhi Leonard and they had a ton of injuries. It seems so simple, like, oh, let's just go get another superstar. But you bring in another superstar who doesn't have the shared experience with this group, the way that the Knicks just went through this entire season together. Give this team an opportunity to use their experience together and fuel them to make a run next season. I just feel like teams pull the plug way too early these days. They want that instant gratification. Leave the group alone. Just leave it alone.
I'm with you. I just think in New York, they got no patience, that's for sure. So the Giannis thing is enticing. I don't know if it's possible because, as Bobby pointed out, look at the assets that they have available to them. But they got no patience in the Big Apple. But I'm with you, Drea. I'm with you on this.
They'll just keep rotating stars and rotating. It's just I'm not with it. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one. I don't know. Maybe
I don't think you're the only one. All right, developing story here. The Phoenix Suns have narrowed down their head coaching search to two finalists from the Cleveland Cavaliers: associate coach Johnny Bryant and assistant Jordan Knott. That, according to our senior NBA insider, Shams Charania. Shams also reported that Devin Booker has been part of the search process over the past 7 to 10 days. So, Bobby, is a coaching change going to be enough to fix the Suns, or are there more big changes coming?
I think there's more big changes coming. I will say this is probably one of the most important hirings that Phoenix is going to have in the foreseeable future, just based on what the past has established. They can't go through this again as far as the rotating process. I think where you're looking at it as from an assistant coach, elevating up to the coaching, it's a sign that there is going to be some type of reset of this roster. Certainly probably a priority in getting some younger players, if that means swapping out Kevin Durant for draft picks and some players on controllable contracts. But I do think it's more of a sign that changes are coming in Phoenix.
Yeah, perhaps even a rebuild. Bobby, thank you for the time as always. Always appreciate it.